What's crackling, everybody? Welcome back once again to the definitive cereal tier list. For each episode, we take a cereal, put it on the tier list, so you know how good it is. I'm your host, Tucker. In this episode, we're doing Oatmeal Squares Cinnamon. Now, last episode, we did Oatmeal Squares Brown Sugar, which wasn't super impressive. Did manage to sneak by and get a D, but overall, I didn't really feel the brown sugar was too present there, and the piece was all right, much better than something like the shredded wheats, I think is what I call that specifically. So doing fine. That's just sort of a base, but we'll see if the addition of cinnamon can kind of help this. I took a look, just see how high cinnamon was in the ingredients list, and it looks like this also has brown sugar and sugar at the same place that the last one did. So if this somehow represents brown sugar more than the last one, that'll be good for the cereal, but it'll be a little bit of a letdown for the original one. But let's just open it up, see what we got. Okay, I can already smell just so much more. Yeah, both cinnamon and possibly, no, mostly cinnamon. Okay. You know what? Can't really smell the brown sugar. I was confused for a second. It's cinnamon. So piece-wise, pretty much identical to the brown sugar ones. I think a little bit darker, maybe, but that's about it. The piece was pretty decent. It was not hollow inside. It was like layered, so I assume this is going to be the exact same. So I know what to expect from the first bite crunch. Okay. Much more present taste in this one. Cinnamon really showing up this time. It's obviously a bit more of a sweeter cinnamon than like the very warm cinnamon we've sometimes had. So that's working out okay. About the same level of crunchiness that the last one had. Not a huge difference there, but taste-wise, very noticeably better. The first couple bites I had were the ones where the cinnamon was the most apparent, and I'm not sure if that's because it's getting washed off a bit in the milk here, or because I just went from having the brown sugar one to this one, so it was like a very clear difference. But either way, not as strong cinnamon flavor anymore in here, so we'll keep going and see if that's more of a this cereal thing, or if it's more of a comparing the two thing. All right, the milk is looking pretty cinnamony, so let's see how it tastes. Definitely cinnamon in there. Yeah, and it's like heavy cinnamon. So I think it did get washed off the pieces here, because you know how sometimes if you have too much cinnamon in one spot, there's kind of like a thickness to it. That's sort of what's happening with the taste here. That same sort of idea. So I'm pretty sure there was cinnamon in all the pieces, and now it's all clumped together in the milk. Yeah, not bad, but definitely I think a little too concentrated for the cinnamon. Luckily, this turned out to be a bit less of a square than brown sugar. In that last sip I took there, I got a lot more cinnamon than when the times I was just trying the milk on its own for some reason. So that makes me think, in addition to the cinnamon getting a bit washed off, the pieces were absorbing the milk as well. So you were getting more cinnamon in the milk, but then less overall milk. So I think that's why it feels such an overabundance of cinnamon in the milk. So that's kind of weird, and it does sort of make sense with the way the pieces sort of sogified, where there's still a lot of like mass to it because it is layered, but it's not exactly crunchy at the end. So you still get a decent like bite feeling from it, just there's not much crunch. So that's similar to how the last one was, but now that I'm like thinking through the steps of what happened on this one, I think some things are just, that's why sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is give Oatmeal Squares Cinnamon a D. Same rank as the brown sugar one, but I think this one's maybe a little bit above it because it's kind of weird. The taste of this one, I think, better just because it's more present than in brown sugar. Piece, pretty much the same for both of them. Not much of a difference there. But then the milk, I like a bit more in the brown sugar one because you're just, oh yeah, there's a bit of brown sugar in here. Like, all right. Versus this where it's like, oh, there is cinnamon and it's a little too much. So I might choose the milk of the brown sugar one over this one. So kind of a close pro and con list. So it might depend on the day which one I would choose over the other. But overall, they're still fairly close on the list. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, post your general thoughts. Let me know if you've had Oatmeal Squares Cinnamon and what you thought about it. Again, if you are a big oatmeal fan and you had this and you felt it did or did not represent oatmeal well, feel free to let me know. If, like me, you've now tried both of these flavors and you have a much clearer favorite over one or the other, you can let me know about that too. Or if you're an oatmeal person who normally puts in brown sugar, but then you tried the cereal and you thought, maybe I should put in cinnamon, and this has kind of opened your eyes, you can let me know about that too, I guess. But until next time, stay delicious.